The story opens with Ethan watching his wife, Lena, grow more distant by the day. At first, the changes are subtle, little things he can easily overlook. Lena's brief, almost dismissive goodbyes as she heads out the door each morning. The way she comes home lost in thought, glued to her phone, barely acknowledging his presence. Ethan tells himself it's just work stress. But deep down, he feels something is slipping away. They've been married for nearly a decade, and the connection they once cherished now feels like a faint memory. Ethan notices her interactions with her coworker, Jason, a charismatic sales director at Lena's company. Jason is everything Ethan isn't: bold, outspoken, and daring. Lena lights up when she talks about work, especially about her new colleague, Jason. Ethan's suspicions grow, and his heart sinks every time he watches the two together at work events, where Lena and Jason are often side by side, sharing private jokes and easy laughter. The tension mounts as Ethan realizes he's witnessing the collapse of his marriage right in front of him. Determined to uncover the truth, Ethan decides to follow Lena after work. He trails her car, heart pounding, as she drives to a small, secluded hotel on the outskirts of town. When she greets the receptionist with an ease that suggests familiarity, his worst fears are confirmed. Ethan sits in his car, stunned and heartbroken. This woman he had loved and supported, the woman he thought he knew inside and out, had chosen to share herself with someone else. Instead of confronting Lena immediately, Ethan plans his revenge. He knows that Lena and Jason will be attending the company's annual celebration, an event that Lena has spent months organizing. It's her chance to shine, and she's thrilled about the recognition it will bring her. That evening, Ethan watches as Lena dresses in a way she hasn't done in years. She carefully chooses a fitted dress, applies perfume he's never seen, and meets his gaze in the mirror with a look that's half pride, half secret. Ethan's resolve hardens as he realizes she's preparing herself not for him, but for Jason. At the party, Ethan becomes the perfect spectator. He watches from the shadows, observing Lena and Jason's every move. They're in their own world, laughing, toasting, and sending each other lingering glances across the room. Ethan waits patiently until the night's climax, the moment Lena and Jason attempt to turn him into their unwitting fool, whispering and laughing with a confidence that suggests they think he's oblivious. But Ethan steps forward, commanding everyone's attention. He calmly requests the microphone, saying he'd like to share a few words in honor of his wife's dedication and loyalty. The crowd quiets, intrigued. Ethan locks eyes with Lena and Jason, relishing their growing discomfort as he lays out their entire affair, sparing no detail. Shock ripples through the room as his words sink in, leaving Lena and Jason exposed, their faces turning pale under the weight of the crowd's stares. The company director, who has known Ethan for years, is furious at the news of the betrayal within his ranks. On the spot, he fires both Lena and Jason, announcing to all in attendance that their behavior not only tarnished their reputations, but has no place in a business that values integrity. Lena stands frozen, while Jason attempts to mumble a defense, only to be escorted out by security to the murmur of shocked guests. The public humiliation Ethan had planned for them is complete. But for Lena, the true consequences are only beginning. Her affair has cost her both her career and her marriage, and she finds herself adrift, struggling to rebuild a life shattered by her own choices. Meanwhile, Ethan starts a new life, finding a sense of closure in the aftermath. He takes a break from the city, moving to a quiet town by the coast where he can find peace. Slowly, he begins to heal, exploring new interests and meeting people who value him for who he is. Through these experiences, he realizes that the pain of betrayal, while deep, doesn't have to define him. In the small town, he meets Clara, a warm-hearted artist who brings laughter and simplicity back into his life. Clara has her own history of heartbreak, and their shared experiences create a foundation of honesty and trust. For the first time in years, Ethan feels the stirrings of love, but this time, it's grounded in mutual respect and understanding. His relationship with Clara teaches him that true companionship is built on shared values, a lesson he had painfully learned from Lena's betrayal. Back in the city, Lena's life spirals downward. Without her job or the security of her marriage, she is forced to confront the choices that led to her downfall. She tries reaching out to friends, only to find that her once busy social circle has all but vanished. Her affair with Jason has left her isolated and scorned, and as she drifts further into isolation, she's haunted by the memory of Ethan's unwavering loyalty, a loyalty she took for granted until it was gone. Desperate, Lena reaches out to Ethan, hoping to find forgiveness or at the very least some closure. But Ethan has moved on, his life now filled with purpose and a love that heals rather than destroys. He listens to her apology, but it's clear that his heart is no longer tied to the woman who betrayed him. He tells Lena, with a quiet dignity, that he wishes her well, but that he can never go back to what they once had. Lena leaves their final conversation knowing that the bridge has truly been burned. As the years pass, Ethan and Clara continue to build a life of joy and authenticity. They share adventures, support each other's dreams, and celebrate the small moments that make life meaningful. Ethan's journey from betrayal to peace becomes a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the power of forgiveness, not for others, but for oneself. Lena, on the other hand, lives with the weight of her choices, finding a modest job far from the life of glamour and excitement she once craved. Though she tries to move forward, she never quite recovers the happiness she once threw away. Her betrayal, a choice made in a moment of selfishness, lingers as a reminder of all that she lost. After Ethan and Clara's final encounter with Lena, each character's path diverges dramatically, with moments of both hardship and triumph marking the years that follow. For Ethan and Clara, the bond they share continues to blossom into a profound love, one that fills Ethan with a newfound purpose. Clara, with her gentle spirit and artistic soul, inspires Ethan to open his heart fully once again. Together, they embark on small adventures, hiking the scenic cliffs near the ocean, camping under star-filled skies, and slowly transforming their coastal town into a place filled with shared memories. But while their love story unfolds naturally, it's not without its challenges. Ethan often feels himself hesitating, fearful of repeating past mistakes or being too vulnerable. Clara encourages him to face his insecurities, believing in the strength they've built together. She listens patiently when Ethan opens up about his lingering fears, the ghosts of betrayal that occasionally creep back into his thoughts. In these moments, Clara's support is unwavering, and her calm reassurance helps Ethan rebuild his trust in himself and others. Clara's art career also flourishes as she channels her life experiences into her work. With Ethan by her side, she holds her first art exhibition, showcasing pieces inspired by themes of resilience, renewal, and growth. Ethan, in turn, supports her in every way he can, proud of the woman who has helped him find hope and purpose again. Meanwhile, Lena struggles to cope with the life her choices have left her. The high-paying career, the glitz of corporate parties, and the thrill of risk are gone, replaced by a modest job in a small firm, far removed from the company she once dominated. The affair with Jason, once an intoxicating escape, is now nothing more than a bitter memory. Jason, too, has moved on, his life scarred by their shared disgrace, leaving Lena truly alone. Her new life lacks the glamour she once thrived on. The small apartment she can now afford is a stark contrast to the home she shared with Ethan, where once she felt in control, a sense of power in her career and in her relationship with Jason. Lena now feels stripped bare, forced to confront herself in ways she had always avoided. Friends who once admired her confidence now steer clear, and Lena finds herself isolated, spending long nights reflecting on the choices that led her to this place. The silence becomes her only companion, and in the quiet, Lena begins to understand the depth of what she has lost. Not just her marriage, but the trust and support that Ethan had offered her. Her days are a cycle of regrets, interrupted only by attempts at self-improvement. She begins therapy, forced to reckon with her patterns of self-sabotage and the desires that once drove her to betray the life she had built. Gradually, she starts to reshape her perspective, no longer yearning for status or validation, but for a simple peace. Over time, Lena starts volunteering at a local community center, finding a sense of meaning in helping others, particularly young women struggling to find their path in life. While the memories of her affair and her lost marriage haunt her, she channels her remorse into empathy, encouraging others not to repeat her mistakes. Slowly, Lena learns to accept herself again, finding small pieces of redemption in her new role. As for Ethan, the years continue to bring a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment. He marries Clara, and together they open a small community center in their town, a dream of Clara's that Ethan eagerly supports. They teach classes, organize local art shows, and give talks on resilience, each inspired by their personal journeys. Through the community work, Ethan begins to see the purpose of his past hardships. He finds solace in knowing that his story of betrayal and healing can inspire others. One day, while preparing for a talk on overcoming challenges, Ethan receives an unexpected letter. It's from Lena. She writes to apologize for the pain she caused, expressing a gratitude for the time they shared, even though she had once taken it for granted. In the letter, she explains that she has come to understand the value of loyalty and kindness, qualities she once dismissed in favor of excitement and ambition. She writes not in the hope of rekindling their connection, but as a final gesture of closure for them both. Reading her words, Ethan feels a mixture of relief and compassion. He knows he's no longer tethered to the pain of their past. He's moved beyond it, and he no longer needs validation or an apology to feel whole. Still, the letter reminds him of how far he's come, and he closes it with a quiet sense of satisfaction. He shares the letter with Clara, who reads it with empathy. They both acknowledge the importance of Lena's message, not as a reopening of old wounds, but as a symbolic end to the chapter that once defined Ethan's life. Together, they decide to donate to a charity that supports individuals recovering from broken relationships and past traumas, seeing it as a way to turn a painful history into something positive. As years pass, Ethan and Clara's family grows. They welcome 2 children, raising them with the values that life has taught them: honesty, kindness, and resilience. They teach their children that mistakes are inevitable but can lead to growth, that love is a choice made every day, and that genuine strength lies in forgiveness. Ethan's story comes full circle as he watches his children grow, finding joy in the smallest moments. He no longer feels defined by the pain Lena caused him, nor by the revenge he once plotted. Instead, his life is now marked by love, purpose, and a commitment to the principles he holds dear. Together, he and Clara create a legacy built on authenticity and compassion, a life where they lift each other up rather than tear each other down. In her own world, Lena, too, finds a kind of quiet peace. She lives simply, finding solace in community service and occasional volunteer work. Though she never remarries, she builds friendships based on mutual respect and trust, connections that fulfill her in ways she never anticipated. Her life remains touched by regret, yet she finds ways to make amends, even if only to herself. Looking back, Lena sees the impact of every choice she made, understanding that while she cannot undo the past, she can shape her future with integrity. Her story becomes a reminder of the costs of betrayal, but also the potential for growth that follows even the deepest mistakes. She lives her life with a quiet dignity, finding redemption in small acts of kindness and self-awareness. As the years rolled on, Ethan and Clara's legacy of resilience and love continued to grow, touching the lives of countless people. Their community center had blossomed into a place of healing and growth, serving not only as a refuge for individuals seeking guidance, but also as a hub for education, creativity, and personal transformation. People from all walks of life found their way to the center, drawn by the warmth and wisdom that Clara and Ethan embodied. Ethan took pride in mentoring others, particularly those struggling with broken relationships or self-doubt. He became known as someone with deep insight, offering advice that was both honest and hopeful. Every time he shared his story, he was reminded of how far he had come, from the painful years of betrayal to the strength and compassion he now held within himself. Clara, too, poured her heart into the center, holding art therapy classes, hosting exhibitions, and using her creative gifts to help others heal. The couple's partnership was seamless. They worked in harmony, inspiring each other and those around them. One day, a woman entered the center who looked vaguely familiar. She was reserved, holding herself with a nervous poise, and her eyes carried the weariness of someone who had seen many struggles. Ethan recognized her almost immediately. It was Lena. The years had softened her, but they had also etched lines of regret and sorrow on her face. She stood hesitantly in the doorway, scanning the room as if unsure whether she belonged. Clara, unaware of who Lena was, approached her with her characteristic kindness, offering a warm smile and asking if she needed help. Lena hesitated, her gaze shifting to Ethan, and when their eyes met, an unspoken understanding passed between them. Clara, sensing something significant, quietly excused herself, giving them space. Lena took a deep breath, her voice trembling as she spoke. "I never thought I'd find myself here, Ethan, but I've been following the work you and Clara have done for years. I wanted to come sooner, but..." She paused, visibly struggling to find the words. "I wanted to see this place for myself. I'm trying to live a better life, and I thought coming here might help." Ethan listened in silence, feeling a mixture of emotions. He saw in her the same sense of loss and vulnerability that he had once carried. Though their past was filled with pain, he now felt only compassion for her, a woman who had lost her way but was searching for redemption, just as he once had. He invited her to sit, and they talked quietly, reminiscing about the past but without dwelling on bitterness or resentment. They shared stories of how their lives had changed, of the choices they had made to rebuild and heal. At one point, Lena's voice softened. "I see the life you've built, the work you've done here with Clara. It's beautiful, Ethan. You've created something that will last, something that matters." Ethan smiled, a genuine, peaceful smile. "Thank you, Lena. I could say the same about you, for finding your own way and for being brave enough to come here. I don't hold anything against you. I'm grateful, in fact, because the path we took led me here." The conversation felt like a release for both of them, a final unburdening of the past. Lena expressed her gratitude and quietly left the center, leaving Ethan with a deep sense of closure. For the first time, he felt that all loose ends had been tied, that he could finally close that chapter of his life with nothing but peace and understanding. Over the following years, Ethan and Clara continued their work, leaving a legacy that grew stronger with each passing day. Their community center expanded, incorporating workshops on self-respect, resilience, and even conflict resolution. Young couples and individuals dealing with heartbreak came to find solace and tools to rebuild their lives. Ethan became a trusted voice, his words carrying the wisdom of someone who had truly walked the path from despair to redemption. Their children, now adults, began to take on more responsibilities within the community center, infusing it with new energy and ideas. Inspired by their parents' story and values, they sought to carry forward Ethan and Clara's mission, each bringing their own unique talents to the work. Their family's dedication became a source of inspiration for the town, symbolizing the power of healing and the possibility of new beginnings. Years later, as an elderly man, Ethan sat in his garden, reflecting on his life. Clara joined him, holding his hand as they watched the sun setting over the ocean. Their lives had been woven with both joy and heartache, and they had transformed those experiences into a legacy of love and resilience that would endure beyond their time. Their community center had become a sanctuary for those seeking wisdom, a place where broken spirits could mend, and a beacon of hope for all who passed through its doors. On this evening, Ethan felt a profound sense of fulfillment. He no longer thought of his past wounds as scars, but as the foundation upon which he had built a life of meaning. Beside him, Clara smiled, sensing his contentment. "Thank you, Clara," he whispered, his voice filled with gratitude. "For everything, for helping me become the person I am today." Clara squeezed his hand, her eyes soft with affection. "We found each other at the right time, Ethan, and we've made something beautiful together, something that will continue, even when we're no longer here. As they sat in the quiet embrace of twilight, they knew that their love and their work would leave an indelible mark on the world. They had turned their pain into strength, their struggles into compassion, and their love into a legacy that would inspire countless others to rise above life's hardships. In the years that followed, Ethan and Clara's influence continued to ripple outward, shaping the lives of those who passed through their community center. Their story of resilience, healing, and love had become a beacon of hope, inspiring people far beyond their small town. The center itself evolved into something more than they had ever dreamed, a foundation that extended its reach to nearby communities, hosting programs on emotional growth, self-reliance, and building trust in relationships. As the community center expanded, their children took on leadership roles, each contributing their unique strengths. Their eldest son, Aaron, was passionate about counseling and focused on helping those going through heartbreak and trauma, much like his father had experienced. Aaron had grown up listening to Ethan and Clara's story, learning from the lessons of pain and resilience. He found joy in helping others navigate the complexities of love and forgiveness, using his parents' journey as a touchstone to guide others. Their daughter, Lily, a talented artist like her mother, led art therapy workshops, infusing creativity into the healing process. She encouraged people to express themselves through painting, sculpting, and drawing, creating a safe space where emotions could be explored openly. Lily understood that art had given Clara peace in her darkest moments and wanted others to experience that same solace. Ethan and Clara watched proudly as their children carried on their vision, building something even more vibrant and inclusive than they had first imagined. Their family had transformed their shared legacy of love and resilience into a mission that would continue for generations. One winter evening, the center celebrated its anniversary with a large gathering. Families, friends, and many of the people who had been helped over the years came together to honor the impact the center had made on their lives. The air was filled with laughter, music, and gratitude, a beautiful testament to the countless lives the center had touched. As Ethan and Clara moved through the crowd, they were embraced by people of all ages who thanked them for the hope and strength they had found within the center's walls. Ethan was moved by the stories they shared, stories of relationships saved, self-worth rediscovered, and personal growth achieved. Each person they spoke with had been touched by the love and dedication that Ethan and Clara had poured into the community. During the celebration, Aaron took the stage, eager to honor his parents with a heartfelt speech. He spoke about their journey, highlighting the courage it had taken to transform betrayal into strength and heartbreak into a foundation of healing. My parents showed me that love is more than just a feeling. It's a commitment to kindness, resilience, and forgiveness, Aaron began. His voice carried a deep respect and admiration that brought tears to his parents' eyes. They taught me that even when life hurts you, it's possible to rise above it and create something beautiful. This center is more than just a building. It's a legacy of love and compassion. It's a place where people come to remember that they are worthy, that they are capable, and that they can heal. The crowd applauded warmly, and Clara squeezed Ethan's hand, her heart swelling with pride. She leaned over and whispered, "We did this, Ethan. We built something that will outlive us, something that our children and community can carry forward." Ethan nodded, his heart full. "We did, and I couldn't have done it without you." As time passed, Ethan and Clara gradually stepped back, allowing Aaron and Lily to guide the center with their own vision. They watched as their children brought new ideas and innovations, expanding outreach programs to support youth and families in nearby communities. The foundation they had laid became a springboard for growth and evolution, with new generations benefiting from the love that Ethan and Clara had infused into every brick and beam of the center. In their retirement, Ethan and Clara continued to live simply, spending their days enjoying each other's company, traveling occasionally, and visiting their children and grandchildren. They had finally found the peace they had long sought, their lives full of laughter and quiet contentment. One of their favorite pastimes became returning to the center as honored guests, where they were celebrated as the founders of a movement that had changed countless lives. They would sit in the back of a workshop or attend a group session, watching with quiet pride as others took the lessons of resilience and transformed them into personal growth and healing. Their legacy continued to grow, as did the impact of their lives. People in their small town began referring to the community center as the Heart Center, a name that symbolized the love, hope, and strength that it brought to everyone who walked through its doors. The story of Ethan and Clara's journey, of betrayal, forgiveness, and renewal, became part of the town's history, a tale shared at gatherings, celebrations, and community events, inspiring all who heard it. In their final years, Ethan and Clara became symbols of unwavering love and resilience, cherished not only by their family, but by everyone whose lives they had touched. They spent their days surrounded by the fruits of their labor, a living testament to the power of turning pain into purpose, betrayal into trust, and love into a legacy that would stand the test of time. And as they sat together in the quiet of their home, watching the sun set on a life well lived, they held hands, grateful for every twist and turn that had brought them here. They knew their story would live on, not just in memories, but in the countless lives that had been changed, the hearts that had been healed, and the love that would continue to grow long after they were gone. The Heart Center stood as a lasting reminder of their journey and as a beacon of hope for all who walked through its doors, proving that from the depths of heartbreak can rise a legacy of compassion, forgiveness, and unbreakable strength.